I don't know. We're not using a lot, but if you use a lot, you're just a shithead.
So the first question that I got, I thought it was pretty interesting. So the first question I got was, what's your view on the overuse of anabolics in bodybuilding? I mean, it's a wide range topic that we can get into because, and I know everyone speaks about it, but I mean, it's important because, like we said on a few of the other podcasts, it's like, especially the youngsters that are uneducated and don't understand it, or not even that, it's more they're just reckless with it. And we all know what can happen if you are reckless with it, you know. I mean, some people get away with it scot-free and some people don't. And, you know, so I guess the question is, do you think, I guess I can change the question. Do you think the overuse of anabolics is as prominent in South Africa as it is overseas? Or do you think it's just, it's more of a, you know, a Western thing?
I think it's more of a Western thing because the way they are doing it and what they are using is it's hectic shit. So here in South Africa, some of us are probably too scared to go like too heavy that way or too heavy into depth. But I don't know. We're not using a lot. But if you use a lot, you're just a shithead.
I guess so. And Akbar, what do you think?
I think it's the internet's fault. I think guys are going on forums and searching on the internet and stuff like that, and that's where they get led into the wrong, not led, or they get influenced in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, on forums and stuff like that, they throw out numbers that people have used in their own capacity. Maybe they've done blood work and stuff like that, but majority of the time it's not the case. They're just experimenting with themselves and pumping ridiculous numbers and something that's not necessary. So I think that's what the issue is. If you are going to use anything, I mean, the first things first is that you need to know what your blood work is looking like, and also the reason behind why you're using it. If you're not going to be competing in bodybuilding show, this is my opinion. If you're not doing a bodybuilding show or anything like that, then you have no business using PEDs, in my opinion. Unless you're at the age where you can use the doses, but then that's, like I said, you need to know what your blood work is, what it looks like, what your health, where your health stands before you jump on anything like that. Yeah, because I mean, it's risk you're taking. I mean, you're shortening your life. Is unreversible side effects that can come with the stuff. I say that I think that's what the issue is. I think it's mainly got to do with young guys searching stuff on the internet and stuff like that. And now on top of it is now TikTok, and that's not helping the cause now at the moment. Now I mean,
Yeah. The
I mean, you have
internet
to
is
call out.
misleading, yeah.
Yeah, I think as well,
Yeah.
like do you think it's, do you think we think that way because we don't see like the monsters, you know, the like crazy monsters like we do see in America and well, I mean the majority of the other countries in the world. Do you think it's that, or do you think it's that the quality of stuff that we get here is nowhere near to, you know, obviously like even close to the standard of what they get there? That's why they might not be, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're not using as much more as guys in SA. It's just that the quality of the gear is an issue.
That's a tough one to answer, especially when I haven't spoken to anybody and that has been here and been there to distinguish the difference between like the underground stuff compared to. I mean, if you're getting made great things, if you're getting things from doctors and stuff like that, you're gonna get quality stuff then.
Yeah, of
There's
course. Yeah.
no doubt about that. But yeah, like when it comes to UGL, then I mean, I think it's just more or less the same. I mean, I don't see how it can be any different because I mean, the rows are coming from the same place, uh, as far as I understand. Where UGL get the rows from, goals come from same as in China. However, they're getting it is it's another story. Now they manufacture it is another story.
Yeah.
I mean, where I can say the quality is different is like manufacturing. How sterile is the place the stuff is being made in? I mean, UGL labs, 100% of the time, UGL labs, it's in someone's freaking basement or in someone's kitchen or in someone's freaking bathroom. That's just the reality of it. I mean, and that's also another thing that guys need to understand when just looking to use gear. I mean, you need to understand you're putting the stuff in your body. You need to know where the stuff is coming from. You can't just freaking use stuff. You need to accept that this is a risk you're taking. So think if you are thinking about taking PEDs, think about all these things. Your health, what you're putting in your body, the outcome, the long term. But yeah, I mean, also we live in a funny world, man. In this time, with all the crazy stuff that's happening, look at the stuff, the topics we had to discuss last week, transgender stuff. Look at that. There's no way that this is going to work. I mean, like you just mentioned it now. You're not going to find a woman that converts to a man entering freaking a boxing match against another man. I mean, look at the world we're living in now. Look where the world is going to. And I mean, we live in an egotistical world. Let's just be honest. I mean, that's the only reason why I can see why guys who are not doing competitive bodybuilding is jumping on gear because they want to be the biggest bra in the gym. For what reason do you want to be the biggest bra in the gym? Yes, I mean, freaking get strong and strong as you can naturally, push yourself naturally, and educate yourself on nutrition. I mean, go that route instead of letting your ego get just because that guy is benching 120 now. You need to take some gear to take 120 as well.
What would you say? I mean, what would you say to a younger guy that, let's say, he wants to compete? That's all he wants to do. He wants to compete. He wants to be a bodybuilder. That's it, through and through. But doesn't have I would say, he doesn't have the finances to get this stuff through, like proper sources, or he doesn't have the education on it. What would your number one advice would be? Would it be, obviously get a coach? You could say get a coach, but if he doesn't have the money for that, where would you, like, in what direction would you send him?
I would say, you said it now first. I mean, get a coach. That's because then a knowledgeable coach, responsible coach will first tell you max out your potential first before jumping on any sort of PED. I mean, that's the time, especially if you're young. That's the time you want to build your foundation. That's the time you want to build as much muscle as you can naturally. Push out, like I say, max out your potential. 'Cause I mean, if you can push your potential to the max and you can build crazy amount of muscle and build a solid foundation, just imagine then you're going to use the PEDs to full effect.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to like the terms of guys not having the finance and stuff, then I would say then if you're really serious about this thing, the next best thing is to invest in your education. Then invest in educating yourself on nutrition, invest in yourself on your knowledge on how to train properly. Um, and then yeah, that's like I say, in the beginning stages, it's all about building the foundation. Because that's once that foundation is the same way, like building the same thing as building a house. You need to build a solid foundation in order to if you want if your goal is to build this mansion, what you need a freaking solid foundation. So that would be my advice to someone who's young, starting out. If you can't afford a coach, then I mean there is proper resources on the internet where you can get the knowledge on proper nutrition and proper training.
Do you Is there specific people that you would, let's say, we can pretty much learn so much shit just from YouTube and the internet and whatever. And there's the guys that don't know what they're talking about it, and there's guys that do know what they're talking about. Is there any guys specifically that you would like send him to go watch and educate himself with, because look, obviously there's a lot of gurus out there, and then there's like the real guys. So who would you recommend?
My number one go-to will be Lane Norton. I mean, the guy is extremely knowledgeable. He's been in the industry for decades now. He gives out proper information when it comes to nutrition and training. So that would be my number one guy to go to. And as well, when it comes to, if you go to him, he himself will recommend further coaches or guys to read up on and stuff like that. The next one would be Eric Jowns. He's got some serious good books and stuff like that on nutrition and training. That's basically where I started. Besides the studies I've done through HFPA and stuff like that, that's where I started. I started reading more things from Lane, reading the studies that he's done, and so on like that. Yeah.
And actually, it just popped into my mind now because so many people have some people swear by him, and some people think he's a complete idiot. What do you think about Dave? I don't know if you've watched any of Dave Palumbo's stuff. Obviously when he talks, he sounds extremely well versed and he understands a lot of things. But then again, you also see the other side of it where other guys that really know what they're talking about, have a bit of a go at Dave for giving out misinformation.
Hey guys, Paul here. So our internet buddy Dave Palumbo has a new video up on why he hates blasting and cruising. I'm going to tell you why he's completely fucking wrong about this one.
Well, look, you can learn from everybody. Everybody, like, I mean, has their side to them where, like, you can question it. The reason why, like I said, why I mentioned Lane is because of the scientific evidence that he provides with his information that he dishes out. It's not just stuff that his own personal experiences and stuff like that. It's scientific evidence that he provides.
Look, I actually want to ask this. Maybe I'll put the fear of God in some of the younger guys that watch this. Have you guys ever had any bad personal experiences with gear? Like, for instance, like any type of bad experience where you got something that that affected you badly, or you had crazy side effects from just some type of example.
Before, it feels like I'm talking the most. I'm not even giving Mickey a chance.
Sorry,
Before we go on
Mickey.
to another person you can check out also for information on, especially younger guys, younger bodybuilders, is John Jewett. He actually ran a program called J3 University or something like that. But now obviously that costs money. So he does give a lot of free information as well. So you can go take a look at that.
Yeah,
back to that question.
It's not that expensive. I've had a look at it before. It's not, instead of investing your money in the gear, invest your money in something like that, like a proper university that's gonna teach you. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Mickey, what's you want to answer my question about the bad experience?
No, I'd just like to add in there, Coach Greg is also very good because he's also clued up. Everybody hates him. But I like him. I don't say I love him, but I like him. He's a cool guy. Also give lots of cool and good knowledge as well, because he personally experienced it from himself as well, not out of labs or scientifically, but yeah.
Yeah, the only thing about him is if I had to listen to him for more than like 20 minutes, I might get a headache.
His voice.
Okay, before you watch this freaking video, like it. Like the button right now. If you like it, more people are gonna watch it.
Yeah, no, look, that's a little bit hectic. A little bit hectic. But yeah, no, 100%. But same thing. Same thing. He also gets a lot of heat, eh? He gets a lot of heat for, you know, and at some times. But then again, you know, some coaches, they don't know, you don't know everything. You know, you don't know everything. It's like, but for you to purport it all over the internet, and you don't actually know 100% what you're talking about, can also be extremely detrimental. You know, especially to a young guy that's going to take your word as gospel. But yeah, anyways, Hugo, what's happening?
I'm doing good, and you boys?
Good. You also got load shedding or not?
Yeah, but we have like basically like power running, but for some reason like some of the lights don't work, so I had to put on a light here.
Power, no stress. But yeah, sorry, I really want to get this answer. It seems like you guys are avoiding me for some reason.
No. You can go first.
No, I'm joking.
What's the topic?
No, it's actually we one of the questions that came up was you know, what's our opinions on the overuse of anabolics, and then we, you know, led to, I actually asked the question, have you guys ever had a bad experience with gear? You know, a bad batch or something that had happened to you that you were like, fucking hell, okay, this shit's a little bit more hectic than what I thought, or what, you know, maybe it was in the beginning when you first started it.
Yep.
We can come and hand it over to you.
I'll share if you guys want to hear.
Now I'll jump in that. No, I didn't have any bad experience for my years. It's only bad thing that I know of. It's obviously now clean. That doesn't agree with everyone. So I'm not a big fan of clean, but I know clean do help, and it do give you maybe like fucking extremely heart palpitations and shaking and all this nonsense. But that's the only thing I don't, because I use quality grade. Because if you're gonna use backdoor shit or black market, there's going to be effect, because that people put in what, the cheapest olive oil that you get, or is it not olive oil if it's sunflower oil? The guys don't know about it. And what Ahmed said, it's best to invest in your education first before you go into this game, because it's not that easy. You understand? Because it's people is going to sell you black market shit. They're going to sell you black market shit. They just packaging box shit whatsoever, and you shoot sunflower oil in your glutes or wherever you want to shoot. So there's lots of quality market, like the Western. They have quality shit. So like Ahmed as well said, internet can be very wrong to our eyes, and what we see on social media and what we Google, it's totally different
Yeah.
on what we buy and what we use here in South Africa. So it's best to invest in education and to get the proper coach and to get someone that will guide you the proper way and not the wrong way, just to make money out of you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't disagree with that, you know. And you go, have you, it sounds like you have had some type of experience before.
So I'm actually quite passionate about this, because the thing is that, and I'll be open and honest about this, because anybody that listens to this, I want them to take this from all of us. We've experienced this, and you know, we also go through trying out things, and I'll be the first one to say, like, I remember my first cycle. I did the bare minimum. It was just a simple test. Ran it for 11 weeks. I'm not gonna say dosage, just so people don't whatever, but let me say it was low. It was really low compared to what I've heard people do on the internet and whatnot. You can basically call it like a quarter of that. Within those 11 weeks, that first cycle, I gained 10 kgs. My whole physique completely changed. And after that, I kind of realized like low dosage is the best thing to go with. Start low and see how your body reacts with that. And then from there, you can progress and try it again, see it a second time. Like, is it still working as well? But you shouldn't use the compound and think that that is everything. It is the way I describe it is always like in a video game. You get multipliers, things that help you gain more currencies or whatever to make you do better. That's what this thing does. If you're not putting everything into your training and your diet, I promise you, you can take whatever you want. It's not going to create your physique. It's not. But with that being said, the one experience that I had was my first experience with Trend, and basically, so what happened was, so I had two different experiences actually with it. The one was where was right before eye candy, and it was around 4 weeks out that I started that we implemented it, and I was running extremely low doses, and what it did to me, yes, it definitely did help me. But let me tell you something. If you've ever, f- if any, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what it feels like when you need to go write a test the next day at school and you didn't study for it, or you know you should be studying, but you're not, you're like doing something else and you're getting that anxious feeling. That's what I felt
Yeah.
like every single day when I went out to go get my steps in the neighborhood. I would just feel anxious, even though there was nothing I needed to do. There's nothing I needed to really get to, nothing I needed to stress about, but I was feeling it. I never in my whole life had problem with acne. As soon as I started that, pimples all over my back started getting on my chest. Um, and Gyno even started flaring up a little bit. I got like anxious about that as well. After eye candy, when I got a little bit more food in me, suddenly it changed. Then I wasn't feeling anxious anymore, but then the like aggression and the short tempers just like flared up like this. Like I would just lose my shit over the smallest little thing, and I would hate it because like 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, you turn around and be like, yes, you did. Did I really just lose my shit over that? Like you feel horrible because you know you're being a dick, and you just hate it because you don't want to be that type of person. So, um, yeah, I honestly have to say that when you're just it was really like the more you do these things, the more you go into it, you kind of realize like how dangerous and how fine a line you're walking with these things. Um, I mean, I again, like I'm saying, like I'm taking such small doses, and I'm hearing what pros are taking probably, and I'm already like always in my head just worrying like, yes, see, like, am I healthy enough? Am I healthy enough? Is something acting up? Am I feeling something? And this is on this little bit, like you really got to understand like how tight of a rope you're walking when you're taking these things. And most people are not going to be like, you know what, I'm going to take some of this stuff and I'm going to go test it. You don't know where to go test it. You don't have the money to go test it. Um, Maybe you don't even care about go testing it. Like you're just like, nope, I'm just gonna draw this syringe and I'm just gonna pluck it in there and here we go. Let's do this. And how many people are also even following proper like cleaning, like hygiene and stuff, like making sure that you swab uh, uh, um, your glute before you inject? Are you swabbing it afterwards? Are you sure your hands are clean? Are you sure your syringe has been properly packaged and it's the gear that you're getting, is that properly clean? Like you don't know these things. You're walking a really tight rope, and
Mm.
um, I mean, yeah, that's kind of it's a contract that you're signing up for.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, to think you actually don't know what you're getting, and you still, well, I'm not saying everyone, but like, the majority of people that are just ordering from their fucking next door neighbor. I don't know what they're putting. Order, Primo, and it's like 100 rand, and they expect it to be like the proper shit, but it's just, it's just absolute bullshit. But yeah, it's actually fucking crazy.
If you're buying Primo, first of all, it's going to be costing you an arm and a leg. And
Yeah.
second of all, are you sure that that is proper Primo? Because most of the stuff you get is not the old school proper stuff you can get anymore. You can't get proper GH, like proper 100% GH anymore. Primo 100%, you're probably not going to get that. Like, most of these compounds that you're getting is not the old school 100% compound. And then, like, if you were lucky to get that, then you're still running the risk of all the side effects and all the health dangers that you're getting into. So, like, I mean, it's a bit of a circus act that you're going into,
I think what happens with Primo as well, like obviously because it's so expensive, and the guys kind of, they can get it, what's advertised is they can get it, and then they're on, like, let's say they're on 500 megs of test a week, and they order Primo, and they're like, okay, now it's time to Primo, and then they're just getting more tests, so then now they're like at like 1,500, and like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not really doing much, but yeah, it's fucking crazy. But also there are ways. Actually, talking about David Palumbo earlier on, and I'm not too sure how accurate it is, but I take him at face value and his word. That you can buy. I'm not saying they're cheap, but you can buy like proper testing kits, and you don't have to actually take it to labs and shit. To get tested. But then again, how accurate is that? Like, like you are running a fine line if you're not getting it from a doctor at the end of the day. But yeah, okay. Anyways, Ahmad, do you have any stories?
Yeah, you're gonna have a laugh about it. Well, I have two stories. Like the first one is like it was a little bit way back in the beginning. I think it was my second or third year in the bodybuilding, and I just started using GH. And I used to get it from underground lab when I was I trusted these guys and stuff like that. But then one day, so now I got a new box of GH, whatever, mixed it up, and the morning I take a shot of this thing, and I feel, and GH, you take it in the tummy, and I pin this thing, and I feel this thing, I'm like, but this doesn't feel normal, and it hurts. This is not right, man. Fine, go on in like 2 days. Like every morning I shoot this thing and I'm like, no man, doesn't feel normal like I normally felt using it. Bro, I promise you, like on the fourth day, I look at myself in the mirror, and bro, I start seeing, I'm like, I look at myself, I'm like, but you're starting to change color here. Like, I mean, I started like turning brown, like I started having brown patches here over my nose. I'm like, these O's must have given me melanotan. They must have mixed it with melanotan.
That's what I was thinking when you said it. I was like, what the fuck?
When you said you're turning brown, so I knew that it was probably a tan.
Yeah,
Immediately, like on that day, I took the stuff back. I'm like, I went straight to the I'm like, no, look at me. Are you guys serious? Then they look at me, the brother looks at me, he starts laughing. I'm like, bro, you laughing at me? How can you let me laugh in a time like this? He's like, yo, bro, okay, I'm sorry about this. I'm gonna find out about the story. Yeah, so they really mixed up the GH with the melanotan. I'm like, no, man. So yeah, they gave me the cash back, and I was like, oh, that was the last time I used it.
But how does it? I've never used melanotan. Is it? You don't have to mix melanotan, or do you? It's just a normal. Oh, do you?
Yeah, you have to mix melanotan.
You get the nasal spray as well.
Yeah.
That was the last time I used GH underground lab. I'm like, nah, I'm done.
Just getting brown and no bigger.
Man was getting ready for a show early.
And then the next thing, what actually happened to me now recently in my off season, I was on a cruise. I was cruising on test E, and I mean this is supposed to be a mid grade lab, because apparently it's flown in from India, whatever. Cool. I'm using the test E from the beginning of my off season, whatever, on a cruise, and we get to halfway through, and I ordered my third box of this thing, and it comes, and I shoot it, but bro, I promise you, my glute swelled up like that much. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I thought, okay, now maybe there's some scar tissue going on here. First, foam roll it out. I'm like, okay, cool. This thing's like after two days, bro. The second day, I started getting a fever. Like I felt horrible. I felt like I was getting the flu. Okay, then I thought, okay, maybe I'm getting test flu. Maybe that's the story. Okay, after the third day, got better. It came close to the time for me to take my next shot. Okay, now I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take the shot in my shoulder because now I've pinned both my glutes, and the one's swollen and the one's not recovered yet. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna pin my shoulder, bro. I pinned my shoulder, bro. I promise you, it looked like I had a hot dog for an arm. Bro, I'm like looking at this thing. I'm like, bro, I started stressing. I was
Oh, fuck.
stressing. Bro,
That's
I
when
pick up the phone. I call these guys. I'm like, yo, what kind of this? I mean, I've been using the testing now since the beginning of my off season. I've been like, it was almost like for 10 weeks. And I'm cruising now on a low dosage. And I'm like, what's going on here? I mean, like, what's going on? They're like, no, we just changed the carrier oil of the testy. I'm like, but why? Why? Like the things were working 100% probably because I was doing bloods as well, and my bloods were coming back perfect. Like I mean, my test was right where I needed to be. Everything was spot on. I'm like, but why? And then I asked around like other guys who I know was using the testy as well, and one of my clients as well like said like he pinned it and they said the same thing. It's like I'm like, nah, cool.
they
Change
changed it without telling you beforehand. That's a bit hectic.
Yeah,
Fucked up.
they just changed the carrier oil. And then, yeah, and then I said, okay, listen, yeah, I'm sending this back. Sent it back. And then they sent me test sub. And I shot the test sub and everything was reg and normal. So I was like, yo, what? Why?
That's such bullshit. That's like me being a Ferrari salesman, and you order Ferrari from me. You pay the deposit for the Ferrari, and you come and pay the rest. I give you the Ferrari, and then tell you 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, we changed the engine in it to 1.6 liter for out of my fucking Hyundai i30.
So that's why
you know what I mean. That's
and
it's
this is supposed to be a mid-grade lab. Yeah, they claim the mid-grade lab because brother shit's expensive. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I look at the price list and everything, and I mean, I've asked around guys in the industry, and I mean, obviously, well-known guys that know what's going on. Like, no, this stuff it's solid. I mean, and everyone who's using this this labs is doing blood work, and I was like, how was your blood work and everything? Everyone's doing hundreds. Everything's hundreds. Why? Why change it?
yeah.
So that's why I said,
Well,
you need to be careful. You need to be careful what you're putting into your body, and it's a decision you need to make. Like listen, am I gonna really put this into my body? Because anything can go wrong. Like something like that. Like you see, like their thing was like, because it was only like 2 or 3 of us that had this issue. Like everyone else is fine. So maybe it's just our bodies are not happy with the new oil they're using. Like, this is some sunflower.
it's probably they probably, I don't know. It sounds like they're trying to save money to me, but I don't know. One thing as well, like, sorry.
That was my 2 bad experiences. Bro. Like, oh.
No,
I mean, the GH thing was be the worst, bro. Yo, bro, I look like a Somalian. Bro. I look like a Somalian, like I was like brown.
Oh fuck! I'm trying to think now where I heard this. there was it might have been on another podcast, but they were talking about just gear in general, and he was telling, the one guy was saying how he was in a relationship with this one chick, and he had just met the parents for the first time, and they went on like it was either the parents' house, or they went on a away weekend or something. I think it was the parents' house, and he woke up in the morning and he needed to go pin, and so he went into the bathroom, and for some reason he had pinned, and just blood started, like, like splatting everywhere. He obviously hit something. He had done something wrong. I don't know if he did it in his shoulder or whatever, and it went all over the door and the wall and the towels and shit of the fucking new girlfriend's parents' house. Imagine that. Holy fuck.
That's dope. That is dope.
That's not a good way to start.
No. But also, you got to learn how to. Also, that's like another thing. I think you also got to educate people, and people need to educate on actually how to do it. It's it's all good and well that you know how to, like, what to get, and have education on that. But then if you don't know how to do it properly, like, I mean, there was even some stories about pros in the beginning not knowing, and they were like, recommended this dose, and they were like fucking filling up syringes and shit. Like, so I guess also educate yourself on that. But if I could give one other tip is, we've spoke about him before. You know that guy, Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Obviously, he's extremely intelligent. He knows the stuff, like, crazy well. He's also got a video, and maybe I'll put the link in the description. Go have a look. It's about how to know that if your underground gear is quality or not. And he's got all tips and tricks for you to understand, even if you can't go get it like tested properly. At least there's some telltale signs whether it's half decent or not. So there's small things that it's actually all up to you. As a guy that wants to start doing this stuff, it's all up to you. The information is out there. It's finding the correct information is the first thing. Watching it all, listening to the right people, making notes, understanding this stuff before you go to your neighbor and get a whole bunch of bullshit. It's gonna fuck you up. Even if it helps you in the beginning, and like you said, you put on 10 kilos in that first month or whatever it was. It could be just absolute. I'm not saying in your case, but it could be just absolute bullshit weight, and then you actually fucking yourself up because you apparently you got sunflower oil in you. But yeah, anyways, it's a bit of a delicate topic, but it's one of those things. Okay, another question that I got for today. This is actually quite. I have a few opinions on this, but what do you think about this new, like, swath of Instagram bodybuilders? So guys that obviously don't stand on stage, and they just, they fucking huge. They put on a lot of muscle, and they look fucking phenomenal. They look like they can get on the stage, but they don't do it. They just do it like for social media, and they're obviously using a shit ton of gear. Like, these. I don't know if you've watched these new guys, the Trend Twins. They're obviously like new. They just blew up on social media and shit. Like, what is your thoughts on that? Like, I know Ahmad had said in the beginning of the podcast that someone that's not competing has no business in using gear unless it's TRT and you're older and whatever the story is. But what's your view on someone like guys like that are doing it? They're not stepping on stage. Well, I don't know what their plan is, but they're making a lot of money because of it. So like, is that cool? Is that like the balance? Because they obviously using social media to leverage, to leverage themselves and make money.
No, don't even go down that road. Like, I'm 100% with Ahmad on that. You have no right touching anything if you're not competing. Like, even when you're competing, you're taking, like I said, you're taking a massive risk. If you want to look good so you can make money, from that, like, no, it's stupid. Don't you are So you're telling me that all of us, anybody knows that if you're taking gear, you are shortening your life. That's possibly what's happening. Now you're shortening your life so you can get some more money. Dude, there is millions of ways to make money. There are guys making money off of their physiques, doing it naturally. Making like go be one of these guys that like does backflips and what's like while you're doing your training and stuff like that. Do cool stuff like that rather than going and taking gear, trying to look amazing so you can. No, 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 no. You cannot. You have no right touching that stuff. It's so unhealthy. This is no. I'm very much against that. You should not glorify gear in any which way whatsoever. This is not a route to walk down. It's not. No.
But what do you think about if you know, like a complete and utter meathead, which they seem like, you know, certain guys like that, and they don't have any other skills.
If look, I have to say, at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your decision. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I am going to tell you that you're stupid. I'm going to tell you straight up that you're stupid. You should not be doing that. Like it's not worth it. It's not worth it to be doing that. Like what's the end goal? Like we can make money off of our physiques and what we do and whatnot, but I have a competition that I'm doing this for. I'm doing these things, I'm taking these things, then I'm coming off, I'm decreasing the dosages, all these kinds of things because I keep my health in check. I try and look at these things. If you're trying to, no, I can't agree with that. Like it's for me it's a very very touchy subject. These things are extremely dangerous and it just takes one wrong pin, it takes one wrong substance to end it real quick.
Um, my opinion on this goes back to what we spoke about in the beginning. People like that need to realize you have responsibility. If you want to become a guy making money off social media and you want to be an influencer, you have a responsibility because who are you influencing? Who is watching your content? Cool. If you want to take gear and just to look fancy on social media and stuff like that, then I prefer you rather claim natty, but then spit proper knowledge. Spit proper knowledge on nutrition, spit proper knowledge on training, then there's no problem. But don't take gear, not stepping on stage, and then blast on social media about the gear you're taking, how much gear you're taking, what gear you're taking. Then we're not solving the problem. We're making things worse. It goes back to the story of what the question asked about earlier is what was the question about the overusage of gear? That goes back to that same problem. So if you're going to do that, but rather if you want to use gear and be an influencer to look fancy, then rather claim natty, but spit the proper information. There's far too many influencers out there spitting absolute bullshit, 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 and that's what doesn't make our industry any better. I mean, as I said, that
Yeah.
they want to be famous, they want to be well known, but they're spitting crap. They make they put they're basically putting a bow tie on shit. That's basically what they're doing. They make
Yeah.
what they talk, they're speaking shit, but they make it sound fancy and cool. So
Yeah, look,
that's
you
my
know, if you look at it that way, you're right. Because at the end of the day, probably the majority of people that are, you know, taking in their content, what, like 16, maybe young 15 to like 25 maximum. So yeah, you're right. And these are all guys that look up to them and say, fuck, you know, those guys are jacked. I want to be them. They're strong as fuck. And the only way I can do it is by using train, you know, which does obviously, I mean, makes no sense whatsoever. So I guess if you sensationalize the like overuse of gear, and I'm pretty sure they're quite young, if I'm not mistaken. You know,
Yes.
they can't be older than 25, I don't think. I think they're quite a bit younger than that. So yeah, I mean, it's a risky thing, but you know, Ahmed, I agree with that. That from that side of it, I agree fully. The only thing, you know, Hugo, when you said, you know, about like health and stuff like that for them, I always think to myself, if you are not stepping on stage and using gear and you're using it to monetize it and whatever, and people will say, you know, don't do it because, you know, you're putting your life at risk and you're taking years off your life, which is 100% true. But do you think it's, you know, there's a lot of people out there that work a 9 to 5 but go drinking and smoking and taking drugs every weekend? You know, like, does that, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of evens itself out. Like, what's worse, you know? Is it worse to just work your 9 to 5 and then drink over the weekend and, you know, get plastered? Or is it maybe, you know, okay, use a bit of gear and get famous on social media? You know, it's kind of like a bit of a mix up.
Yeah, I have to say that even though I am against the use of it in that way because of your health, and I don't think that that is what gear should be used for. I feel that gear shouldn't in any way not be used, but unfortunately we kind of have to use it. It's a fact. We have to use it if you want to become pro in the top leagues of bodybuilding. But Ahmad hit it on the nail. I think that is for me actually the biggest thing is the fact that the influence. For myself,
Yeah.
it's the fact that look at I'm gonna use the most popular guy that there is, Chris Bumstead. He never ever talks about what gear he's taking, let alone how much he's taking. He doesn't talk about that. He will constantly tell you what his diet is. He will constantly tell you what he's training. He will show you all that stuff. He will show you what he is doing, all the really important stuff. The really important stuff, that's what he's showing to you. He's not showing, everybody knows the kids aren't stupid. They know that Chris is using stuff, but he doesn't need to tell them what he's using. He doesn't need to tell them how much he's using. He just needs to be an inspiration for them to get their ass off the couch and go gym and be their best self. He inspires them to be better. He doesn't glorify the fact that he is in an industry that is filled with compounds that are going to enhance your physique and your strength and whatnot. He doesn't glorify that. He glorifies the process, the becoming better, pushing through your obstacles. That is what a true influencer should do. You are you are influencing the younger generation, and I do not want the younger generation getting the wrong idea, because if you give them the wrong idea, then the world's going to go to shit. And that's not what I want. I want the younger guys to look up and learn the right things, be healthy, be happy, and be their best self. Um, and if you do decide to go that way, you need to have the right knowledge and the right everything to make that decision at the end of the day. Um, so that is the most important thing. You got to be influencing people. So guys like Trend Twins, I think those guys should be kicked off platforms immediately because they're literally going way too far with just about everything that they're doing. All their videos, the way that they're talking, the way that they portray all these things. All bro, power to you for like kicking ass in the gym. But you can't be this reckless. If you're gonna be this reckless, do you are you really going to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to take all this money, I'm going to take all this fame and whatnot, but I'm going to teach these little kids that are looking up to me and enjoying my content, I'm going to teach them the wrong thing, and then they're going to get hurt, and then, oh, that's not my problem. No, no, are you that like irresponsible? Like, grow up, grow the fuck up. This is not how the world works.
Yeah, I mean, Look, I agree. The thing is, I agree with that. I agree with everything that side. But with the Chris Bumstead situation, there's two sides to it, in my opinion. There's the side that he's gone, which is exactly what you said. Like he doesn't speak about it much. He's maybe mentioned it once or twice here and there. Kind of what he's using, not really. Like I'm not saying he never like hides it, but he's conscious of what he says, and he puts emphasis on the right things through. But do not think maybe that a guy with that size of a platform would be doing a better service by educating people more on the gear side of it. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got such a massive platform, and everyone in their flipping, and their dog looks at Chris Bumstead and a lot of kids, anything that comes out of his mouth is like, it's like God to them, and whatever he does, they do. He's got such a big platform. Do you not think that if he had to really get into it and sit down and educate the younger people about it, it would be more of a service than kind of holding back on it. I don't know. I'm actually in between the two. I'm not too sure, but I want to ask the question.
I think he has spoken out about it. I mean, I think there has been obviously that's the thing. Like things like that, like discussions like that, doesn't get the trend, doesn't get trendy and stuff like that. That's also another issue. Like topics like that doesn't get blasted over the social media. When he speaks about things, I think he has mentioned it in one of the podcasts or interviews he's done that about the gear and that how you need to use it responsibly. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he has spoken about it.
Yes. Like once, I think like last year, he sat at his desk like while he was eating something, and then he like briefly mentioned, I think, like a compound or two that he used, but that was about it.
Like I said, very low dose in my supplements that I've been doing. I'm going to be going up a little bit more after this if I'm healthy. And
I have heard him, talk about it and stuff. I just think, and you are right. I mean, that doesn't get the same amount of views as these other things and whatever. But I don't know. It's like, I guess it's a question to ask. You think to yourself, like, he'll still get so much more views on the video, even his videos that don't do as well, than most other people. So unless maybe he himself doesn't have the right knowledge because he's got good coaches and whatever, that he doesn't really need to care about it. He just gets told what to do and he does it. So I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, so more of like, I mean, if you watch Chris's content, it's very, what can I say? It's not really that exciting to watch, to be honest. Like if you watch his vlogs, pretty boring, to be honest. Like and because he's very transparent, just like, oh, I'm doing this today. This is what I'm eating. This is the work I'm doing. So it's not really. It's like he's very transparent in what he puts out. It's not like he's putting on a show.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I think I learned a real lot from Derek, more plates, more dates. Just like his knowledge on what these compounds do and how they react. I would rather say that the fact that I am not qualified, I have knowledge, he has knowledge, all of us have knowledge about these things, some knowledge, but we do not know these things molecularly perfectly. I feel that someone like Derek, who actually went to university, studied these kinds of things, I would rather say, you know what? Go to him, listen to this guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. Go listen to his stuff. And he'll also tell you, like, just rather go find someone that is clued up on these things, because I do not want to be the one that gives information that is possibly going to hurt you.
Yeah.
I would rather give it to someone who has that knowledge, sit down and can be like, you know what, I'm going to give you the straight up answer. This is what this can do to you. This is what science tells you these things can do to you. So
Yeah, I agree.
this is the preferred I mean, for example, like Derek did a video the other day on what is actually TRT, and when he spoke about it, like I was actually like, whoa, okay, that's actually the amount that you should be taking for TRT.
Yeah.
And it's way less than people think, way less. So, um, like that's Derek's channel is being. Derek doesn't need to bullshit you on being like, oh yeah, you need to take this much. He's gonna be straight up with you. He like the guy is sometimes it's like, yes, this guy's got a massive vocabulary, but the guy's also swearing all over the place. So he's like, he's so chilled about it, but he's so clued up on these things. I would rather
Yeah.
say
No, he's
you're not going
he
to
is
ask
good.
somebody about black holes when they don't study these things. You'd much rather want to go to Stephen Hawking and ask him about black holes because he's going to tell you exactly what black holes entail. You're not going to go to somebody who's on the street and ask them to teach you about black holes.
True. True.
I heard
Actually,
you said a
before we
documentary. No, you're not a professor. Go to somebody who is actually a professor and who knows what is the scientific research that has about these things.
agree fully. Um, before we head out, I don't know. Did you guys? I don't know if you guys had a look at. Obviously, we spoke about when we had Chris on the podcast. He sent me this. He sent me this photo of what the pros take, and it was like this, just one random guy that this was his gear stack. I want you guys to comment on it. So I'll just read through it, and then we can comment afterwards. So what the pros take: 5,000 milligrams test, 3,000 milligrams equipoise, 3,000 milligrams tren, 3,000 milligrams deca, 200 milligrams winstrol, 150 milligrams halotestin, 200 milligrams proviron, 40 IU's GH and insulin, 100 milligrams T3, 150 milligrams or micrograms of clen.
Is that all at once or what?
Is that a total
So
of everything?
it was. Sorry, say again.
Is
Is
that
that
all
like
at
a
once?
total, a cycle? Or
So this was they were talking on a podcast and whatever, and they were I won't mention names or anything, but they were talking about so he's a coach, the one guy that he knew or whatever that was this was his cycle.
He's a walking pharmacy, and liver, kidney, and heart is basically on the brink. Like, say your prayers,
So it's
dude.
pretty
You ain't got long left. You ain't got long left.
listen,
holy fuck.
listen,
Like obviously I don't want to talk about the dead or whatever. I know it's bad, but like Boston Lloyd, remember he was known for just like crazy messages of gear, and that's like if you go listen to his previous like earlier videos about what he is on, holy shit, it's crazy stuff. So look, to everyone out there watching, please don't use even a tenth of that. That's fucking ridiculous.
I think that's more a joke than
Yeah.
anything else. But listen, like I mean,
Yeah,
I must
look,
must be honest. I've seen like really what I've seen a pro open bodybuilder cycle. Actually got it from very successful pro coach to get an idea of what. I'm not gonna say his name, but bro, I promise you, like the listen, I can read some of the stuff here, but then this stuff must be edited out. Definitely must be edited out. Let me just find it. Yeah, yeah. This got out of a consultation.
Ahmad, are we thinking
so
of
like,
the
how do
same?
you not?
Hey,
Are we thinking of the same person? Because I think we both were there.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Also,
That
the thing
was
is like,
But
where does this shit all go? That's it. I want
This
to
is-
fuck
this is-
it.
It was at my gym.
No. This is someone who is a very well, is an overseas coach, a very successful one.
Oh,
Very
okay.
successful. I don't want to say the name. I want to give you the hint, but if I give you the hint, he's gonna know exactly who it is.
But go
But
ahead.
yeah. So we are 8 weeks out. SAS every other day. Test prop every other day. Equipoise every other day. Trinanthate every other day. That's just injectables. Orals, Naplin, Proviron, Remedix, and Alvedix. I don't know if you want me to read amounts here. That's from 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out. 7 weeks out. The faster stuff comes out. It's Prop, Train Ace, Mastron, Propionate, Winstrol injectable. Orals, Naplin, Proviron, Remedix, Tamoxifen. And then the fun stuff comes in clean. I don't know what is heat. But yeah, clean heat. I think it's the same thing. I think they get it heat. It's called heat tea where they are. Uwimbi, Wimbine, and T3. 5 weeks out. Equipoise, Test Prop, Train Ace, Mastron Propionate, Winstrol injectable, orals, Proviron, Remedix, Tamoxifen, Clean, Wimbine, T3, Winstrol tabs, Anavar. That's from 5 weeks out, 3 weeks out.
Fucking hell.
Equipoise, Test Prop, Train Acetate, Mastron Propionate, Winstrol. Orals, Proviron, Remedix, Tamoxifen, Clean, Uimbine, T3, Winstrol, tabs, and Anavar.
Why is he doing injectable Winstrol and oral Winstrol at the same time?
Yeah, bro. It's
I was
crazy.
like, this is like a car down payment. I just the amount of money you have to spend on the cycle is like, this is definitely a car down payment.
That was the first thing that came to my head. I was like, yeah, look, that's spending a shit ton of money on gear. Holy fuck.
Yeah, and to shoot
to that
every other
point.
day is a lot.
Yeah. That's a shit ton.
I don't
But
even want to know how many MGs he's shooting.
Me neither. But yeah, anyways. So in other words, guys, take that advice that you're hearing and don't do
Yeah, I didn't read the milligrams. If you guys heard the milligrams.
Yeah, it seems like some of these guys mix up milligrams with grams. They fucking do so much. But anyways,
Yeah, like it's like this pro level stuff.
yeah. Okay. So boys, look, what are we gonna do? What is the punishment for Blaine for not making another podcast? I think it's gone up over $1,000 now. He's got to give us each.
Told you guys, burpees.
The man's gonna be doing burpees until next year.
Yeah, burpees, money, everything. That load shedding schedule of his seems a bit sketchy to me. But anyways, hopefully we'll get him on next week and whatever. And yeah, boys, thanks for that. It's it's one of those topics that's like kind of, we just want to give out the best information we possibly can without, giving any misinformation like most people do. I don't want us to sit here and break down every compound, even that we don't 100% know about, like someone like Derek, like we're talking about. So we'd rather send them in the right direction. I'll actually put a few links in the description of a few videos like this, just so people can go have a look, if they don't know. Yeah. anyways, boys, I'll check you guys hopefully next week, and then hopefully we can get all 4 of us on.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Ciao, boys. Check ya.
Cheers, boys. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Cheers.